Welcome back to another Spurs Chat. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. Stade Rennais 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. We salvaged a point in the end in Group G. I've got Craig, Paul and Lee with me to talk about the game. I'm still travelling back from France this evening from today's game. Craig will be co-hosting today. So if I do cut out, apologies. Craig, over to you. What are your thoughts on today's game?
Well, firstly, let me just say what commitment it is to do a video from you tonight, Chris. It was kind of mentioned in jest, wasn't it? And then we decided probably late last night when Chris got in touch, said we were going to give this a go. So obviously Gary's driving at the moment, so safe trip, guys. But what one absolute mission that was for you guys, leaving so early this morning and basically having to stay awake for 24 hours. So Gary, make sure you got plenty of pick and mix and coffee to keep you awake.
I've got plenty of it, don't worry about that.
Actually, yeah, Gary's next to me. Gary's doing all the driving. And I must say, this is like about a 900-mile round trip to do this trip, to see this 2-2 draw tonight. So, yeah, very tiring, very tiring.
Absolutely.
Well done, guys.
Absolutely. I thought the game was a bit, I mean, it was better than Palace, but it still wasn't brilliant, to be honest. I'm not sure we underestimated Rennes. It's difficult. I really thought we were going to do well. The start was very good, and then it just kind of tailed off a bit. And yeah, plenty of work to do, Chris, to be honest with you. I think. I don't know what everybody else thinks. Paul, how did you see it tonight?
Yeah, like you said, Craig, I thought we started all right, but it highlighted to me again just how much we were missing that creative midfielder and a striker again. I know Harry was on and come off, but it still needed, someone else to come on and change the game as such. I know we obviously Scarlett coming on, but that just that extra bit of experience and quality on there, I don't think it'd be much of a problem. But definitely missing Sonny moment. Without Sonny, I think we're a different kettle of fish in terms of Harry's, obviously not scoring the goal at the moment, and Spurguine getting injured again. It's more a big knock as well. So all our attacking quartet that we had at the start of the season, all getting crocked and on the table for the treatment. So yeah, definitely needed a bit more attacking threat, I thought, moving forward. 2-2, got to be happy with a draw at the end of it. But like I said, Craig and guys, we needed that attacking midfielder like an Ericsson again, and actually score more goals like Harry and Son do and assist the team.
Lee, let's come to you. What are your initial thoughts on tonight's game? And
bonjour, everyone watching.
Our first question though, is Gary wearing his dressing gown or is he fully clothed though? That's what I want to know.
You can tune in after midnight. I'll have the booking going on, but at the moment I'm doing the best.
The comments I've received today are just unbelievable. I won't even read any of them out.
I think me and Chris were spotted on the TV.
It's when the music drops, mate. You're careful now. Start stripping.
Listen, coming back to being all seriousness, coming back to the game, for me, I think ultimately it's a better result than it is a performance. Coming away with a draw is probably a fair result. I think I was quite happy at the end to get that. I thought Rennes played particularly well in front of our back four. Their movement and their creativity was really good, quick, fast, two-touch, and if it wasn't for their poor strikes, I think it could have been a bit worse. So ultimately, I'm not over the moon with the result, but I'm satisfied that that's probably as good a result as we could have expected given how we played.
I think you're absolutely right, Lee. If the way that we see this competition is that we win our home games and we draw the away games, we're going to be group winners and we go through to the competition. But I think a lot of people are just frustrated at the moment that we're not playing this free-flowing attacking football that everyone is expecting. And of course, that is exactly what the club wanted a manager to be bringing in. Is it too early to expect this free-flowing attacking football from Nuno?
I personally think it is. I think, ultimately we're going to go through a period of reflection and, trying to work out who's who and who's going to play where and who's going to be any good and who's not. I think this rebuild is long overdue, and I think it's just starting with what they've brought in. I think this this transfer window was about clearing out more than anything, getting rid of some of the maybe either toxic, as they say, players or over the hill players and that sort of stuff, and then trying to build from there. So I think it's too soon. But as I said from the start, with Nuno, as nice a guy as he is, you know, he wasn't our first choice, clearly. And is he really the sort of guy who's going to bring free-flowing attacking football to Tottenham? I don't know. I think they're going to have to look at some better players for that to happen than what we've currently got.
Craig, I know you've got a lot of questions, but what are your thoughts on free-flowing attacking football? Because that is exactly what the club wanted, and that was the expectation of a new manager coming in.
Yeah, it's not exactly what we're getting at the moment, and I think me, along with probably loads of other fans, were prepared to suffer it if we were winning games. And I feel like I'm repeating myself from about a year ago under Mourinho at the moment, actually, because I was saying the exact same thing around this time last year. You know, saying, you know, we'd take 38 1-0 wins because you win the league. Obviously, that ain't going to happen, and that wouldn't happen. But you get my point. It's kind of spookily similar in some ways, isn't it? Early days yet, massively early days. Has he got his squad together? Absolutely not. Have we had some really unfortunate injuries? Yes, we have. Not an ideal start to the season with the whole Kane fiasco, even though that's behind us. But more injuries tonight, how that's going to play out. It's not been a brilliant start injury-wise, but you've got to hope that we can just somehow keep stringing the wins together, getting the points on the board, and just look forward. But it's certainly not free-flow attacking football at the moment, Chris. No.
Paul, let's come to you. Just want to talk about the starting 11. Pierluigi Golini in goal, and then the back four of Doherty, Tanganga, Rodon and Davis. Tanguy Ndombele, of course, got his first minutes in the Tottenham Hotspur shirt this season. Started the game alongside Oliver Skip, Lucas Moura, Ryan Hill, Stephen Bergwijn and Harry Kane. When that starting 11 come out, pleased?
Yeah, I was, because it was, you know, quite expected. Again, like I said, like a stuck record saying, like, you know, we got Chelsea on Sunday. You're not pushing them out, and you know, they got to be ready for that one. But when I saw the team sheet, I wasn't disappointed. Just a bit gutted by the performance, really. I thought there'd be a lot more tempo to it. The comment just said there, I thought Tanguy did look all right and was good assist for the first goal from the own goal. But it's just like you say, I just want to see a bit more attacking, a bit more, you know, confidence on the ball with the players as such. You know, we all want to see passion and heart, like I said, and I did feel like that today it was missing again. We're going back to the Spurs of old, where it was obviously entertaining the pressure. Don't get me wrong, you're away from home, you got to obviously ride it and then hit them. But yeah, I was a bit worried in the second half. They looked like the more teams go on and going to win. Yourself, how did you think of it when you saw the team sheet? Surprised yourself, or were you expecting it?
To be honest, Paul, I thought that there was more than enough quality throughout that Tottenham Hotspur team to win the game and create chances. And the thing for me that worries me at the moment is the fact that we're creating so little. And, you know, if I was Harry Kane up front, I wouldn't be very pleased because, you know, what are we creating for him? What service are we giving him? Lee, let's come to you. When you talk about, you think it might be too early about Nuno playing free, attacking football. There is enough quality in that team. You know, what more do we need to do? Because the way that I see it, I don't want to be negative here. You know, a lot of people who watch this channel know that I'm super positive about Tottenham a lot of the time. But the performance against Palace at the weekend and the performance today, they don't seem very different to Jose Mourinho performances, to me.
Yeah, I do agree. I agree certainly about the Palace game. I mean, the Palace game, as poor as we were today, Palace I think was far worse than that. There was absolutely no creativity in the team at all. Today I thought was better. I thought we started off fairly well, and I was pleased to see Ndombele in the team, if I'm honest, because I think if you give him the opportunity to prove himself, then maybe you can see some real quality from him, because he is a quality player. And I think you saw that in flashes today. I mean, a lot of people will. I've got it's polar opposites. They either think he played really badly or really well. I think he played well in bits, not the whole game, that he went missing and was a bit kind of in and out. But when he plays well, you can really see the quality comes from him. So I did feel that we had a bit more creativity. But I think once we'd scored the goal, which was well worked, a bit fortunate, I think that woke Rennes up. And I think it's easy for us in the UK to say, oh, it's just Rennes or whatever. But they're in their league. They're playing their team. They're in this competition because they earned that right to be in that competition. And I don't think you could just go, we're Tottenham, we should beat everybody. As much as it'd be nice to be in that position, I don't think we're that team. Certainly not at the moment. So last week's Jose Mourinho, I would say, yeah. This week, I don't think it was too much like Jose. I thought there was some shoots in there. Brian Hill, I thought, did okay again in patches. So I think we're probably moving away, but not at the rate that we as fans would want us to.
Lee, were there any shocks in the starting 11 for you, or were you pleased with Nuno's starting 11?
I think the only one that shocked me slightly was Doherty. I was a bit like, I would have thought that he would have stuck with Emerson. But then we've got Chelsea at the weekend, so he's probably saving him for that game. So it's a real bad. It's a tough ask, this one, because he knows how big the Chelsea game is. So I think he was trying to play it a little bit safe, but with enough quality. And there should have been. But for me, Doherty seems so out of sorts, so low on confidence. I mean, his crossing is just really, really poor. But there is a player in there, because we've seen it in the past. It's just, how do we get that confidence and that ability back into that player?
Before we talk about individual players, Craig, let's come to you. Were you pleased with the starting 11? Were you surprised that Harry Kane was the starting 11?
Excuse me, I wasn't actually, because I just think he needed a bit of confidence and a few minutes in his legs, to be fair. I didn't think the starting 11 was that bad. Like Lee said there, I was a bit nonplussed about Doherty, full stop, to be honest with you. Doesn't inspire me with much confidence. And Ben Davies at left back, he done a job tonight. I don't think much actually come down his side, really, to be fair to him. He was okay. He done all right. I was just pleased to see a bit more creativity in the team. But as we've said already, and was actually something I've written down here, do we still need an Eriksen? And, how long have we been saying that? How long have we been in that situation? The creativity is a massive thing. How many clear-cut chances did we create tonight? And for me, Harry Kane still looked a long way off the pace. And yet, you can say he wasn't getting the service, but there's just something not quite there at the moment. So it's just a cause for concern, because we've got a couple of big games coming up, and we need to get back on that train. And the starting 11 was enough. Look, it's exactly what you said, Chris. There was enough quality there that should have got this game one. And to be honest, you could argue we were lucky to get a draw out of it. I think they'll be coming off that pitch thinking, cool, we actually got away with one there.
To be honest, Craig, that is exactly how I feel. I feel that we were lucky to get a draw out of the game. I really do, with the chances they had. Paul, let's come to you. Tanguy Ndombele, great to see him back in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. Showed a lot of skill. I thought he'd done pretty well tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, I was impressed, Chris. It was good to see him back in the Spurs shirt. Like you say, we all know he's got the technical ability. It's just the commitment, desire, and the attitude to go with it. But yeah, it was good to see him around. It wasn't going to be at the level compared to other players, because obviously he didn't have a pre-season at all, did he? Or played any games. So yeah, hopefully, mate, he can crack on, move on, and let's hopefully see from him like we all know he can produce. We'll, like you say, all seen it on a YouTube video of him how good he was on, and just want to see that more implemented in the Spurs shirt. So, but what do you think, guys? Think all right?
Lee, were you pleased with Tanguy?
Yeah, please, as I said, pleased in bits, because I thought that he played well in good parts, but then went missing for periods. So, I mean, that little burst forward he did, where the goalkeeper kind of went to ground and he went over the top of him, was probably his best moment for me. Showing a little bit of desire, a quick sort of interchange and movement with Kane. I thought that's what I want to see from him more.
That was good.
Yeah, and again the flick to set up for Mora, But for me, and I guess it's the same way as Paul's just touched on. He's not really played, has he? So does he need to build up, his game time and stuff to really get into it? But he's got to get to that point where he's showing his heart that he really wants to be there, that he wants to play, that he's got this opportunity as a person to do something most of us dream of, and yet he don't play as if he really wants it. And that for me is the disappointing thing, because I think he's a really talented lad.
Craig, let's come to you. We've spoken about Tanguy Ndombele so often. It's his first start in a Spurs shirt this season. Do you think he done enough tonight to even try and get a place in the starting 11 against Chelsea on Sunday?
Possibly, because if we want a bit of creativity at the moment, he's kind of one of the only ones that even looked like doing it. I suppose you've got to ask yourself, who else would you have in the middle of the park on Sunday against Chelsea at the moment? Discounting Lo Celso, because I'm not sure he's going to get a start. Although he may well do. Look, he may well sling him straight in. But there's not many other players that could actually. Would you want to see the three we had in there against Palace? And probably the unresounding no, isn't it? So. I personally, for me, if I was a manager, I'd sling him in and perhaps play him a bit more advanced and just say, look, let Højbjerg and Skip sit and just see what you can do. Go and create us a little bit, because we cannot sit back against that Chelsea team. Depending on the defenders we've got. If Dyer and Sanchez are back, perhaps we might stand a chance because they've started pretty well. But, in my opinion, you've got to go at Chelsea somewhat, because if we sit back against them, we're going to get punished. So he's knocking on the door, Chris, to be honest with you, for Sunday for me. I think he showed enough tonight that he should be perhaps give him an hour, see how he's getting on. I would like to see him. I've seen in the chat, people saying he can only do 80 minutes. It's his first game. He was always going to get taken off tonight. I'm surprised he actually lasted 80 minutes, to be honest. So, personally, for me, he showed enough tonight. Give him a run Sunday.
Oh, let's come to you. Let's talk a little bit about Harry Kane, because, of course, he become Tottenham's record appearance holder in European competition tonight. What did you make of his performance tonight? Because I know there are a lot of people around me. They weren't best pleased with Harry Kane's performance. Are we judging him too much because, of course, all of the transfer rumours over the summer?
Yeah, a little. I think obviously there wasn't that much creativity in the team at all tonight. Really, we tried. Yeah, again, I hate to see. He's great with the ball and pass it, but Harry's more deadly when he's actually in the box and the balls are being fed to him. We've seen goals galore like that before in the bars from him, and he can score from outside the area, and everything is not beyond. So I don't know if it's confidence, it's lack of desire. I don't know at the moment, really, with the team passing to him. Are we, again, being solely reliant on him, and we're just expecting too much? Personally, I like to see every player given a commitment, and you got to match what's in front of you, and we didn't do that again. In my eyes, a bit like Palace. They were up for it straight away. We started to build and then went 1-0 up and was really looking positive. And then we went 1-0 down, 2-1 down, etc. So personally, it's just, I think once Sonny's back and he's playing and they get a rhythm going, we'll probably see more from him. But at the moment, what worries me is when Sonny's not playing and he's not playing well, where are these goals going to come from at the moment? That's my more concern, whether Harry Kane's going to be scoring goals regularly, because we know we can do. It's just, God forbid, he gets an ankle injury again. And, we're reliant more on Sonny. And if Sonny gets hurt, like we've had in the past, where both of them are out, then that's when I'm going to start worrying, because I know we haven't got the depth in the squad to score the goals and beat the bigger teams and be consistent. But
I think you're absolutely right, Paul. Lee, let's come to you. Now, if you take Heung-min Son out of the Tottenham Hotspur team and you take Harry Kane out, where are the goals going to come from? Because when you think last season, Gareth Bale got 16 competitive goals for us. Carlos Vinicius got 10. That's 26 goals we've taken out of the team. We haven't replaced either one of them in the transfer window. So if you take Heung-min Son, Harry Kane out, surely players like Dele Alli, Stephen Bergwijn, Lucas Moura, Brian Hill, they've got to step up and start scoring goals as well, haven't they?
Well, that's all you've got left, isn't it? There's no hiding from the fact that we haven't replaced or got ourselves a second striker. Even when we got Vinicius in, and that, went to nowhere. It's a real difficult question, and I don't know the answer to it. I mean, we're relying on a 17-year-old kid tonight to really have a go, and he barely touched the ball. You're getting no service at all. So, only certain players can work off.
Even Harry, really.
Yeah, I mean, certain players can work off of scraps, and Harry Kane's probably been one of the best of them. But he's clearly not firing on all cylinders, and most of us are probably sitting there thinking his head's turned, he's not in here, he don't care. He might be carrying a knock, he might not, might not be fully fit. There might be umpteen reasons why, but either way, it's still a concern, isn't it? If your best player isn't playing well, then that's a worry, But for me, I just feel that Tottenham are just so slow and lethargic. We've just got no press and no adventure about us. We're just kind of sideways, backwards, sideways. There's no movement in front. Who are they? Who's calling for it to say, like, pass the ball to me? And a couple of times I saw some little runs off the ball, and then it never went anywhere. No one passed it off or pinged it forward. So you're worrying the whole time of where that creative is gonna come from. That spark that's gonna move us on.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Chris has lost signal. So, I think he's lost signal because he's completely gone. So, Ren was never going to be.
That's fun.
Ren was never going to be easy, was it? It was always going to be harder than Ferreira. But were you expecting? Come to you, Paul. Were you expecting it to be a walkover tonight, or are we being a bit? We're Tottenham Hotspur. We've got the God-given right to beat everybody. What do you think? Were you expecting to get a better result tonight, or are you happy with the draw in the end?
I was obviously hoping for a better result. Like I said, you've got to be what's in front of you, and you've got to match them with that desire and that passion. And I didn't think, like on Saturday, we had none of that. I was like, come on, this is the time now to try and get over the disappointment of Saturday, to really make a statement. All right, yes, it's not the Champions League. Yes, it's not Europa, but it's still a European competition. People are still going to be watching it, fans from our club or other clubs. So it's a chance to take authority in it and say, right, we really want to do this. But you can only beat what's in front of you, and you've got to match them. These lesser sides are not, like you say, it's not going to be walk over in the park. They're going to match it. It's their final. They want to prove. I think Ren had a bad result over the weekend anyway, so they're obviously up for it. They want to beat us, of course, because we're Spurs and who we are. But it's then down to the players individually to match that, to get over that, beating themselves. But and that's what really frustrates me at the moment is we're not showing passion and desire again. And I said it last time and the time before that and previous channels. I just want to see the heart and commitment. If you put all that into it and we lose, fair enough. I'm happy, but it's when we do that I get annoyed, because as a footballer, surely that's your main prerogative, to show as much passion, as much leadership on that pitch and give 110% like each player does every other team to get that over the result and beat that what's in front of you. So, yeah, just the fact there was no heart, no desire, no commitment, and it was the same again against Palace. We've got to match them. Otherwise, we'll be going to Burnley and losing and things like that. I get it now. There's fans in bounds. You're going to get the 13-man experience, 12-man, 15th man, whatever. Players will be up for it because they get the home advantage with the fans. But as the away team, as us are, we then got to match them at 110% as well. So.
Yeah. I don't know if you cut out there, Chris. I was just basically asking. I'll just ask Paul. Did we take it a bit too easy? Did we think that this was going to be a bit of a walkover? Because, that we always knew Ren were going to be harder than Ferreira Rocher. So, it was never going to be that easy, was it?
Pick a mix United, Gaz.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, Ray, why everyone sees these games as easy games. You know, no game is an easy game. You've still got to do the job. You've still got to get the job
Absolutely.
done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, they finished sixth in the French league last year. You know, they're no pushovers, are they?
No, absolutely.
They were in Chelsea's groups, and they were bottom, but
they were always going to. That was always going to be our toughest on paper, anyway. The toughest away leg out the three. And you know, if we want to progress in this competition, we've got to really finish top, because I didn't realise it's not the top two just automatically go through, is it? There's playoffs to go through, and
you got them play the third, and playoffs from the people from the Europa League, isn't there? We got to play.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, there's work to do. There's still work to do.
Can I just go to Lee? Lee, I just want to say about the whole free playing attacking football, etc. Do you think that we are all as fans expecting a little bit too much because we're going through this transition? Is it going to be, up, down, and like you said earlier, the result is not necessarily a bad result, but it's just the performances that us fans are not happy with at the moment?
Yeah, I think so, because listen, there's a lot of talk, and they're always about we play the Tottenham way and all the rest of it. Well, you know, the reality is we probably haven't played the Tottenham way of push and run and free flowing football since probably early 80s, maybe. We've never really played that great football until we started playing under Pochettino, where we did start to play, to a certain extent under Redknapp, I guess, where we played, just go out and have a good game, guys. But I think it's all in our head, isn't it? It's all like a fantasy of how great we are as a team, and we're renowned for playing great football and all the rest of it. But ultimately, like Craig said earlier, we'd have taken 38 1-0 wins if it meant winning a trophy at some point.
Of course.
You could kind of put up with it. You could kind of put up with it from time to time. But we support Tottenham because of our history and what we foresee. And then Daniel Levy coming away and saying we got rid of Mourinho because of his poor football and we want to see better football, and that it kind of hypes everybody back up again, then, doesn't it? This is what we're going to get. But if you believe Daniel Levy, then you're more deluded than probably I am. I can't see him doing anything just for the Tottenham way. He's doing what he's doing to make money, and that's the sad fact of it all. What he wants is let's get us back to the Champions League. So however we get there, that's all he's interested in. So I think, to answer your question, I think it's a little bit of a fantasy that we're going to be there anytime soon. I think you need far better players than we've got to be able to play free-flowing, attacking football that knocks people off the park. Yeah. And to be fair, if you look around the Premier League, how many teams really play that sort of football that's just a pleasure to watch week in, week out? Some of them have difficult games as well. It's just that our difficult games seem to be more often than some others.
Lee, how seriously do you think Nuno Espirito Santo is taking this competition? Because, you could argue that was a pretty decent team that he put out tonight. Yeah, no, I think he's taking it more seriously than maybe more seriously than some of the fans felt that we should have taken it. I mean, how many times have we heard, it's a crap competition, just chuck the kids in? Well, if you'd have chucked the kids in today, they'd have got absolutely ripped to pieces. And you've got to bear in mind, someone said it in the chat at the side here, that, Rennes spent more money than us. I think they've spent like 70 million quid, and they've got a great academy there that they were talking about in the commentary. So, I mean, they're no mugs. They come where they come in their league that brings them into this competition. So you've got to take it seriously, every team, and even if they're a poor team, for instance, even if we said they were a poor team will always try to work harder against the so-called bigger team, and that's why some of these teams get freak results, because they can really turn it on. So I think you've got to be realistic. I always try to be, I try to be sort of fair and consistent and see it a certain way. You can't just go, they're going to roll over. They're some farmers team from France. They're going to roll over. Forget that. That's never going to happen. Not as far as I can see. Well, I'm going to try and put some balance on it as well and try and be fair as well, Lee. Craig, let's come to you, because With that team that Nuno Espirito Santo put out, you could argue managers like Pochettino and Mourinho, if they were playing Chelsea at the weekend on the Sunday, they would have rested players like Harry Kane.
We've all done that.
What are your thoughts on Nuno's starting 11 and how seriously he's taking this competition? Because I think that he started that 11 really wanting to win the game, because there's some people could say, oh, we just went here for the draw. We've said that we were lucky to come away with a draw, but I think that we come here to win.
Yeah, definitely. I think he started Kane, and the plan was always probably to take him off when he took him off. But obviously he's hoping we got a couple of goals up.
If you get a couple of goals.
Exactly. So I think, he wanted to get 3 points tonight. I think he went... Look, let's face it. Look at the players that are in that starting lineup.
Team
it wasn't
reflected
far
that.
off our best 11 currently that we had available. You could argue it was our best 11 at the moment. So, you probably sling Dele Alli in there, of course, and Højbjerg, but they both came on in the end. So, it wasn't far off. It was a very strong 11. It should have been enough. But yeah, you're right, Chris. I see your video of just before you went into the ground and all the names that have obviously been at Rennes over the years. And there's some big names on that wall, isn't there?
Yeah.
On the wall, Yeah,
they are not minnows. They are not minnows, and look, they're not Barcelona or Real Madrid, but they were never going to be a walkover. And as you said, Lee, the result is a good result, but the performance wasn't brilliant. I couldn't have phrased that better myself. That is a brilliant way to describe that game. Absolutely brilliant. But we got a point. It could have been worse. I'm not sure if Chris going very slowly. I think he's in a
Chris, you there?
So.
Gary? That's how slow I'm playing, wasn't it? Today, a little bit.
That's was that Doherty? He was doing a Doherty impression there. The conference league, though, Paul. The conference league, we've actually earned €4.5 million out of this so far. Apparently, I looked this up earlier, and to win it, you actually, if you went through everywhere, all the stages and won it, you get €15 million. So quite clearly, it isn't about the money, is it? But it's still a trophy worth winning, is it? Or do I just want a trophy bad? It's got to be worth winning.
It's got, for me, Craig, it is. How long, when us Spurs fans are desperate to see us lift a trophy, you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? I want to see Spurs challenging trophies and titles like we all want to, but you've got to take every competition that you're in seriously, and you want to beat what's in front of you. So I'm all for us winning it, and again, we can make history. The first in it, etc. So bring it on. It's a chance for us to all celebrate at the end. I had the unfortunate, well, we all did, heads in our hands in the Champions League final. Something better this time round, and see us actually lift the trophy. 91 FA Cup, and then 2 League Cups. I didn't dream it would be this long before I saw our great club lifting a trophy again, but again, we've put all the emphasis in the facilities, the stadium, now putting it into the team itself, mate. And that's only going to come over time. Good summer transitions when we've had full capacity stadiums, the shops doing well with all merchandising, things like that. I'm going to judge Paratici next summer, not this one, on who we identify as our. Hopefully then see us go out and get some real names like we would have done with Fernandez, Skriniar, etc. And then give me a chat on this channel in another year's time, hopefully, when we've got better players and we're in a better position. But
it's still a transition, isn't it? That's the thing.
That's a constant, though, right? A transition is going to be a constant. All teams have to constantly change their players, move on, and get somebody else, and all the rest of it. I mean, we see it going through the 90s. We saw it with Man United every season. Ferguson would just build a new team. Players that you think, well, you're going to get rid of him, surely. They just move on and move on to new players. The problem we've got is the players we bring in, they just never seem to be to the level that we
replacement of the quality
that we want them to be. I mean, we've had some great players play for our club, but they tended to go off to the Man Uniteds and so on, and then under Pochettino we started to get a good team and a good squad together, and then taking that time out of never replacing them, and poor transfer activity has left us where we are now, where we're basically starting again from scratch. And it's always going to be really, really difficult when you've got big teams around you scooping up every player that they can get. You know, your Chelseas, your Man Cities, you know, Man Uniteds, and all these teams. They're just scraping up all the talent. You know, PSG. You know, and it kind of leaves you really struggling to find the best quality you can get. You know, at a price that a club can afford.
What I'm saying it now is the fact that people say a striker won't come to Spurs because they're going to be in Harry Kane's shadows. Bollocks to that. Pardon my French. I am so sick of hearing that phrase from, you know, the people on Sky, people in the newspapers. I want a striker to come in and challenge it, even kick him out of the team and have someone else. We had 4 strikers on our books when back 4, 5, 6 years ago. You know, Berbatov, Keane, Defoe, Pav. Then it was obviously Crouchy. You know, it would have been ideal times for them tonight to both play, and rest the other people. We're so reliant on Harry Kane's son. The fact that, you know, pundits always say, well, they're not going to come to Spurs because they're going to be in his shadow. It just does my head in. Sorry. It's the one thing that really annoys me at the moment. This current time is not going to come to Spurs because they're going to be Harry Kane's bitch, basically.
No, I mean, that's it. How did Harry Kane get in the team in the first place? All right, he wasn't challenging somebody as good as Kane is now, but he ousted the strikers that were there. Who was it? Was it Soldado, Adebayor, that sort of player? Was it? He was playing, and you know, you're right. I mean, he's Dane Scarlett. It's a shame he's so young, and he just doesn't seem quite ready to
at the moment.
At the moment, but a couple of years, perhaps he might be knocking on that door, and once he's banged a couple of goals in. But I totally agree. I'll go back to the Danny Ings thing. You know, Christ knows why we didn't go for him. I'm fed up saying Danny Ings.
I was about to say that,
but you know,
it's over the radar. That is so, like, you know, out the blue. I was like,
You back with us, Chris?
Chris's face. He knows.
Yeah, I keep dipping in and out. We're still on the motorway here driving. And did I hear you right in saying that should we take this competition seriously? And is it a competition and a cup worth winning? Did you say that?
Yeah, we all agreed it is.
Yeah, definitely it is.
Can I just say, Chris, if bloody wants to be with a 14-hour round trip, which we're going to be away 24 hours. It's definitely worth winning. Let me tell you.
Gaz, you're a legend. You both are.
He's been very quiet.
Dedication, mate. You should be out on that pitch. The pair of you.
He's the quietest I've heard, Gary, actually.
Gary, listen, you're moaning about. He's moaning about this. He's moaning about this 14-hour road trip, mate. We do this every other weekend, mate. All the way from Dorset up to White Hart Lane. We do it every other weekend, mate. Come on, get hold of yourself.
I'm new at this game. I just do the home games normally. Chris has roped me into this now.
Well, Craig, Gary, I don't know whether you heard Gary say, he said that the burgers at Rennes are nowhere near as good as MK Don's. I don't know whether you want to know that.
That's interesting to know. It's interesting to know if I'm ever that way.
Gaz, I thought you was having kebabs.
Oh no, I looked at the kebab, but it looked a bit ropey, so I thought I'd try a burger, but it was more bun than burger, to be honest with you. I was very disappointed.
Oh, you can't have that. The burger should never be smaller
base
than
it on our performance.
With Uber Eats, really, but never mind.
Craig, you got any more questions?
Just eat,
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that we get people's opinions on. I mean, did you think? Obviously, the second goal was a bit lucky. Ironically, it was one of Doherty's worst crosses, and you know he put in some shockers, didn't he? That was a good finish by Højbjerg. But you know, even the first goal, but that was a bit lucky because it was a deflection. But Ndombele had a massive part in that. Just coming back to Ndombele for a second, he had a massive part in that, didn't he? If he hadn't kept that in with that bit of skill,
he challenge, did he?
We wouldn't have had it. So for me, I was just talking about something that I forgot to mention earlier. It's things like that can win you games or get you goals. Where Ndombele has done tonight, and he wasn't good he wasn't really good for all the time he was on the pitch for me. But Yeah, he's got to be knocking at that door, hasn't he? He surely has, Lee. But I mean, are you an Ndombele fan or?
I am. I do think I think he's got real quality. I just want him to be more quality, more for longer. You know, I'm prepared to put it up with a player who kind of drifts in and out a bit, but he's got to have more than what he's giving. You know, and like at the start of this game, tonight, I thought, oh, we look up for it, and it looks like on Ndombele he's got something to prove, and then we scored the goal, and then we just kind of lost our way and just were pegged back by a decent Rennes side. So, so for me, I personally would play on Ndombele the weekend because number one, I don't think we've got anything else really that's going to compete, but also because I don't think we can just sit there and try to soak up all the pressure from Chelsea. So I think on Ndombele could be the key for us to get a better result than we would get without him. And I'm not sure that kind of makes sense, but you know what I mean. You know, without him, I think we'll be under far more. It's far more likely that we will lose badly than if he's in the team, but he's got to be giving more than he's giving. You know, I just want. He's like the player that you think has got it, and he kind of starts to shine and then stops, and you're like, come on, you know, just go that extra bit, just put that little bit more in, and you could be a true great. And I think that's a shame. I think that's a shame.
Like that, Lee, isn't he? We need to see a bit more from Lo Celso.
Yeah, no, I agree. Lo Celso's another one. The thing you get with Lo Celso is you get that bit of bite, that Argentinian kind of snap. But the other thing I did notice tonight that I felt anyway was that we go down far too easy. That we kind of playing for a lot of free kicks and stuff. And when the ref, like today, in the Premier League, they'd have got a lot more of those than they got tonight. I thought the ref was quite lenient to a certain extent. And for us for Hill to get the first yellow, I thought was a shocker because I didn't think he even touched the player, to be fair. So I was quite surprised at that. But in the Premier League, they'd have probably got a few more of those decisions. But for me, I just think it's too easy to just go down. You've got to stay on your feet a bit more and fight a little bit harder. And I feel we're one of the worst teams for that at the moment, of falling over a lot and expecting a free kick. And Lo Celso is one of them who does that. He likes to give it out, but when it comes to him, he does roll around a bit. And sometimes that goes against you, I think.
Well, but, you know, did that, didn't he, tonight? He spent a fair amount of time on the floor.
Yeah. So there was a time where he went down holding his head, and I looked at it and I thought, well, he didn't even get anywhere near his head. What's he doing?
I know,
so I was like,
very strange.
It does make you wonder sometimes, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Craig, just want your opinion on Christian Romero. Do you think that Nuno will change the back line for Chelsea on Sunday? Because will Romero, Sanchez, if Dyer is fit, who will play?
That's a really good question. I think he's got to change it from Tanganga.
Yeah, that is.
To be honest. Well, we can't play Tanganga, so Tanganga's out, isn't he?
Well,
he's suspended. Sorry?
Yeah. He's
suspended, isn't he? So
yeah, he is.
Out of the
Tanganga's obviously red card, wasn't it? So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he slings in Romero, to be honest, on Sunday. Whether he plays Sanchez with him because Dyer's still touch and go. Look, he could go with a back three. He could play all three of them and surprise us all and go with wing backs. Who knows? He could almost go five at the back. Now that would. Five at the back with Højbjerg and Skip in the middle. That's 7 defensive players. Is he going to do that against Chelsea? Would you really want to see that? My God.
Well, Romero outmarked Lukaku, didn't he, last season Serie A? So get him in.
Well, yeah.
Let's see a repeat of that. Come on.
Exactly. That's why I think he might well see him in because he knows him. He's played against him and he knows him. So, yeah, and then. It'll probably be Sanchez because he might not want to risk guy because that was a hell of a whack he took on his dead leg and that can take up to 10 days to really heal properly.
It was. So
don't be surprised if it's Sanchez and Romero. But
Are you surprised though? Are you surprised though that we're calling out Sanchez as probably the first name to go into that back four? Because I mean, last season we were like, Get him out, mate. You know, there's a couple of WhatsApp groups. There's a WhatsApp group I'm in with some guys, and they call him Happy Feet. You know, and he gets an awful lot of stick. I mean, he has been better this season. I know it's only sort of four games in, and he only played sort of 3 of them. But him and Dyer seem to start getting a bit of an understanding. For me, I was calling out for Mourinho to do was to settle that back 4, pick a back 4 and stick with it, mate, because the constant changing wasn't working for me. So you need a settled kind of group at the back who's going to work a certain way. Personally, I think Rondon's done all right. I think he's played really well. I don't think he's really put too much wrong. Personally, and again, Tanganga, I think, has been immense. I know he got sent off against Palace, but that's Wilfried Zaha getting in his head. And he got caught out. He got caught out, and that's how he got done, really. And he lost a little bit. And again, with his sending off, I thought it was a little bit harsh. But because he'd just been booked, the refs, that's why he's gone with it. Because he tried to pull out. It wasn't malicious. It was just badly timed, you know.
There wasn't major contact there. Yeah, it wasn't major contact with him, was it?
So I kind of look at it and I think, well, you know, is Sanchez and Romero, you know, I don't know, you know, from what I've seen of Romero, he's quite hot-headed. He seems a little bit clumsy to me. So, and Chelsea will take full advantage of that, in my opinion. So I think he's going to be a tough ask.
Is anybody else knocking on the door for you, Lee, to start the game Sunday? I know we kind of covered it earlier, but is anybody else from tonight's performance you think, he's going to make Nuno sit up and take notice?
I think Hill has got to be sort of saying to him, you know, I did all right, especially with the injuries to Bergwijn, Lucas, both come off injured. You know, that could see him getting a little bit of a nod, you know, even if it's not for the full game, but sort of part of it getting in there. I thought he played all well, and to be fair, I thought he grew into the game once he went out to the right and when Bergwijn went off. I thought he actually got better. For me, he would be the one I would say probably stands a chance of getting in.
Yeah, it's just experience and confidence, isn't it, really, at the moment for him?
Yes. Craig, just wonder what you thought of Brian Hill tonight. Yeah,
we just discussing him actually, and whether
Chris.
He's kind
definitely
of knocking on the door to start. I thought he was okay. I thought he'd done all right. I think he looked better when he moved out to the left, if I'm honest, and I think that's his position. On the left, jinking inside or whipping in crosses eventually. He's still young. You've got to remember how young he is. But, you know, he's a big part of the Spain under-21 squad.
Yeah.
You know, he's captain, I believe. So, you know, I think we've got a player on our hands. And if there's anybody in the squad we need to give time to, it's certainly him. So I just think he shows a lot of good signs.
Yeah.
You know, he busies himself. He busies himself in the right areas of pitch where you want him to do it. And I think you'll only see him getting stronger. You'll only see him getting stronger throughout the season. So I would like you,
definitely agree.
to possibly see him get a start Sunday. I mean, injuries, bloody hell. How many times did Tottenham do this? You know, if Moore is injured, I think Moore will be fine, but it looks like Bergwijn might, you know, he's tweaked that ankle again. So
his ankle looked bad, didn't it, when he went over?
Yeah, so you may well be a position there for Hill to get a start. Hopefully will be.
Do we all agree then that Tanguy Ndombele was the man of the match tonight?
Best of a bad bunch, perhaps. I think for me, it's been
he was the most
generous to any of them, but he was the one that looked for me like, you know, I can't think of anybody else I'd want to give it to in the Tottenham team.
No, I think it's a tough question.
The only thing he could have done more for a second would be a bit more commitment.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else really shone enough. And I think, you know, getting to sort of assist the goal is probably his best call out. A couple of good runs and stuff probably edges him on, to be honest with you.
Lee, I know how fair and balanced you are. You know, you say a lot of it on your own YouTube channel. Feel free to promote it. But
He's gone again. It's on. He's doing an on Ndombele, isn't he? He's doing an on Ndombele. First you see, then you don't.
I'm not even going to guess what he was going to ask, Lee. I'm actually curious to know.
No, exactly. No, likewise.
I'll tell you what, Paul. I'll ask you a question because I'll wait for Lee to prepare an answer for whatever the question was. But Paul, do you think our squad is realistically good enough, big enough to compete on 4 fronts? That's the 2 domestic cups, the league, and this competition. So, do you think we should prioritise?
I don't think we. Definitely, mate. Obviously, I know the club's aim is top 4. We do definitely. I want us to see the FA Cup. Personally, if it was my preference, I want to see us win that FA Cup again. To me, it's one of the best domestic club competition in the world. So I want us to really make an in-depth. We want to get our hands on that trophy, and I was. Yeah. Hate to say, I was 11 when I last saw us lift that lovely trophy, and we've been associated with it so long. I just want to see us get a few more lists, get it up to in the double figures, because we were 8th when we won it, and Arsenal now well ahead of us, and I don't like that one bit. I want our name back on the trophy a few more times now. So, but again, I know it's Champions League. That's where the money is. That's where the players of the top caliber want to be. So I get it, but for my preference. I'd love to see the FA Cup being a route to the Champions League, not and it might give other clubs chances to get in that way. But that's just my opinion. But FA Cup for me, if we can prioritise one, and a good one in European Cup.
What about you, Lee? You're the same, or would you want to see?
Yeah, listen. I think from a club point of view. And from an owner point of view, top 4 is where it's at, right? And I don't think you can get away from the fact that playing in the Champions League is a great sort of it's a great time, isn't it? We all love the music, don't we? We all get all the flags out and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's a great spectacle.
Of course we do. We all want those nights.
I think the reality is, though, personally, and it's a controversial view. Personally, I don't see the point being in a competition that you can't win. Right, so I'd want us to be in a competition that we can win. So if we're going to be in the Champions League, then the club's got to go all out to get the players that can win the Champions League. There's no point doing an Arsenal and being in it 20 years and never winning it. What's the point of that? I personally, like Paul, I want to win the FA Cup, mate. I love it. I was there in 81. I was there in 82. They were great times, and it's a great thing to see your team win. And I think there is still a lot of glamour around it, regardless of what other people think. And I think all the stuff around Champions League is hyped up by the media and by sports channels. Talk shit and Sly Sports, all that mob. They build all this stuff up to make it more. The fans are interested in that. But the reality is, we want to win silverware, and I think. The FA Cup has got to be the best cup to win. If we win the League Cup at some point, I'd be happy with that. If we win this, I'd be happy with this. I personally don't see us getting top 4 this year. I think it's a big ask. I think there's a lot of teams that are probably a bit ahead of us at the moment. So for me, we've got to prioritise winning some kind of domestic cup. And this, as tough as it's going to be, I think we've got to go for it.
Yeah, I agree in that.
Definitely.
The FA Cup for me growing up, I'm 48, and the FA Cup in the 80s for me when I was, it's only me and you, Lee. I don't know what's going on here. Everybody's
something we said.
Sure, Paul of you. Thing is, I can't let him back in. That's the thing. I can't let him back in. But hopefully Chris will appear in a minute, so we'll have to just keep talking to ourselves. For me, the FA Cup was always just fantastic. Growing up as a kid, and it was the competition to win, wasn't it? I mean, the league obviously was fantastic, but to win the FA Cup, it had a bit of prestige, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was an all-day thing, wasn't it? I mean, I remember watching it as a kid every year, regardless of who was in it, and it was an all-day thing. It's a knockout and all that, and watching the bus come down the Wembley Way and stuff like that. It was a big occasion, and for me, it was magical as a kid growing up. I loved it. It was made me fall in love with football. That's what I loved about it. I mean, Ozzy Ardiles coming to Tottenham, his dream, and I know the song and all the rest of it, but that was based on the fact that it was his dream to win the FA Cup. most players from around the world back then knew of the FA Cup because it's the oldest competition going. So they want to win that. So there's got to be prestige in it. And for me, I still think it's something that I'd love to see us do. It's a great occasion, and maybe some shine's been taken off it. But again, that for me is all media hype and that. I think true fans that go to football week in, week out, and all the rest of it, would love that opportunity to see us lift the FA Cup. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's just an opinion, right? For me, I just think most fans would want to see us win it.
No, I think, just seeing in the comments here, the prestige of the FA Cup, the history, the oldest cup competition in the world. It's, we've won it 8 times, and at the time when we won it 8 times, we were the record holders of the amount of times won. And of course, now we're not. And it's incredible to think it's been, it's 30 years since we won the FA Cup. It's just incredible. But I'll tell you what, I don't know where Chris is, so we'll just carry on talking, I think, Lee, until everybody gets bored and switches off. So I hope we're keeping everybody awake.
They're still commenting, so they must be watching, right?
I can see. Yeah, thank you for all your comments. And thank you very much, Vicky, for saying thanks for taking the reins. I can't put your comments on screen because I haven't got control over it, but I'm seeing them all. And so is Lee. So thanks for staying with us. What for you, Lee, if you had to say what our strongest 11 is, what would you say? I know it might be a really difficult question, but if you had to pick our strongest 11, everybody's fit, who would you pick? And feel free to write in the comments, everyone. What's your strongest 11?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult one, isn't it? I think the back four is probably the most difficult bit to write because we've been so poor across there. I think you're always gonna chuck in Hugo. I don't think anyone sort of comes near him. I mean, the Galini who we had in tonight, I thought he played fairly well. I was a little bit disappointed with the second goal. I thought, maybe he could have got across further, pushed it a bit further away. But hey, it happens. So Hugo's got to be in there, isn't he? Right back for me. I think I'm still a big fan of Tanganga as a right back, even though that's not necessarily his position. But I feel a lot more comfortable with him being in that position than certainly with Doherty. I find him far better in there. And for me, it's too early to say what Emerson's going to be like. Centre backs, I guess, without knowing too much about Romero and going on basically from what I've seen before, it pains me to say it, but I think Dyer and Sanchez are probably our most.
Last year.
Yeah, they're probably our best that we've got that are seasoned enough and know each other well enough to kind of keep things going. But I do think that's weak. Those two, to be honest with you. And then obviously left back, I think it's got to be Reguilon. I think he's played fairly well in patches. Still not the finished article, still a lot to do in my view. And then I guess Højbjerg as holding. I'd still like to see Ndombele in there. He's best. I think he plays really well. And then see, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you look at Ali, and I still feel like there's where's he gone? Because he was such a good player. I think there's more to come from him, but I'm not sure he's ever going to come back at Tottenham. I think he might have to go somewhere else to truly find himself again. Maybe somewhere like France or Spain, where he gets a bit more time on the ball, where he can kind of do a few flicks and tricks and stuff. So him and
do you know what about Ali though, Lee? I'll tell you what I respect about Ali is, and I've always been a bit of a Dele Alli fan, the fact he's been putting in the work over the summer. He wants to be first choice again. You can see how much it means to him to want to play for this club. And for me, and I think probably for a lot of fans, that means a lot. You can see how much he wants to force his way into the manager's plans. And he's had some bad games. We all know that. But he's started off okay. I think there's been worse players than Ali, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think he's playing in a different way now. He's trying to play more of a box to box, a bit more bite in him, a bit more of a tackle, a bit more sort of defensive work, which to a certain extent takes away from him as a player, because I loved his, his little bits of skill and stuff like that, But I think the fact that he's prepared to try to do that for the manager to get back in the reckoning kind of shows a bit of class from him, and a bit more heart and desire. So for me, I guess that's where I kind of go for him, rather than maybe a Lo Celso, who I think is a good player, but for me, he's just fits and starts. He's a little bit like Ndombele, fits and starts, not consistent enough to really kind of show what he's got. And then again, I think obviously Kane, Son, and I guess who I would go with. I guess I would go with Lucas, mainly for his work rate and for his spring. He works really, really hard. He keeps himself busy. He gets around players. He draws fouls. He runs at people. But as I say, but even that, when you look at that overall, that's not a really clear, strong, massively strong 11, is it? There's still questions in all of that, in my opinion.
Is it? No, you're right. Is it a top 4 11 as well? I mean, it's not really, is it? There's still some holes.
Not for me.
And I come back to this. I've written this down here as a question. I mentioned it earlier. Do we still need an Eriksen? And for me, we've just never replaced him. And he was an integral cog, in that wheel. And for me, it's crying out for a Christian Eriksen replacement. And we just haven't got anywhere near it. And I know Ndombele and Lo Celso were supposed to kind of do it, but they, in my opinion, neither of them have yet, Yeah,
that's the trouble. It's the inconsistency. I think both of them have ability, but it's the inconsistency that they've not shown it yet. And I don't know why that is. I don't know whether that's a desire issue, whether it's a pace of the game or the type of game that we play in the UK. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is that's stopping it, but it's just not happening for me at the moment. And you essentially need someone who's going to dictate the play, who's going to dictate the pace. Got a bit of calm on the ball, but can move it quickly and move around. And I just feel that's so missing. We're literally just side, back, side, back. Who am I passing it to? Keeping it as simple as we can, which is fine. But if there's no one moving in front of you and creating space, you can't run forward, you can't pass forward, you can't ping it wide because no one's moving. It's just so static. And you need someone who's going to drive that. And like that little run that Ndombele did today, I felt was the bit that kind of gave us that, where he sort of the give and go with Kane. I thought, yes, mate, let's get that. That's what we want, That's where you want to see that happening. And it just doesn't happen. Not enough.
No, I mean, I don't know about you, Lee, but it kind of worries me, that creativity. We've seen it for, as a pattern developing for me. And, we're under Poch, we created a hell of a lot, didn't we, in those 2 seasons? When you looked at the statistics, the amount of chances we created, the amount of attacks we had, amount of shots on target we had, we was up there almost every game, weren't we? It was in the 20s sometimes. And just over the last couple of years, and again, I'm not tarring Nuno with the Jose brush just yet. I think he is a different manager, but there are similarities, aren't there? And that's what kind of worries me a little bit, if I'm honest.
I think ultimately, as a coach, you've got to look at it and go, right. Under Mourinho, whilst he was defensive, we were still leaking goals. So he's got to do something defensively, right? He's got to find a defensive unit that's going to work, right? So I think that's why he's tried to keep some sort of consistent balance in the back 4. But injuries is what's creating this issue now that we've got, right? So I think he's always going to have to start looking at the defence as a starting point. So you've got to start somewhere. And I think he wants to stop us leaking goals and then look at where we move forward, which is what, to a certain extent, I was expecting Mourinho to do. Let's stop leaking the goals and then we build the attack and the offence on that. But he never got to it because we were still too busy leaking goals all the time. So I think that's the challenge for any manager coming in. How do they get that stability at the back that's going to stop us just leaking goals either late or whatever and losing when we're 3-0 up or drawing when we're 3-0 up, for instance. You know what I mean? So, so I think he's got to look at it that way. And maybe we're doing him a disservice by saying it's all too defensive. But if you don't concede goals, you don't lose games. But then if you don't create chances, you don't score goals, and then you don't win
absolutely.
games. So is the name of the game not to lose, or is the name of the game to win? Fans want to win. They don't want to. It's not about losing. I mean, someone said the other day, I was watching. I think one of these. I think, and I don't know. It might have even been you who said it. I would much rather see us lose 3-0 than to sort of just sit there and lose 1-0. I'd rather see us go for the game and try to win it. Because if you look at that, I think it was you. Yeah. I think it was in response to the other guy who was on, where he was saying, what could he do? And my view was, bring on some creativity. You're 1-0 down. You're losing the game anyway. You're better off to lose 3-0 than you are to lose to this mob 1-0. Let's put some pride into it, because you want some pride at the end of the game, if nothing else. If you don't get the points, you want to have some pride in it that you did your best.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And just reading the comments again, everybody that's commenting, thanks so much. But I can't put your comments on the screen because I haven't got control of it. But Dan Gaze, who I believe is Gary's friend, I feel so sorry for you, mate. No, lovely to meet you the other night too. And there's a lot of people that seem to be agreeing with us about the lack of creativity is a bit worrying. And I mean, it's not like we've got a ready-made, as far as I'm aware anyway, unless anybody can say otherwise in the comments, a creative midfielder coming through the academy. If anybody knows much about our academy boys, I know Harvey White was one, wasn't he, coming through? They had big hopes for him, but there's a lot of pressure on anybody's shoulders, one of the youngsters, if they're coming through, isn't there? It's they've got big shoes to fill in as regards Eriksen, because everybody's gonna compare him to Eriksen, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, trying to be compared to Eriksen is a big ask, isn't it? For anyone. So, it's a difficult one. It really is. I'm the same as you. I don't know enough about the academy to be able to say, and I don't follow lots and lots of football from lots of other clubs, so I can't really say who I would want or anything from that point of view. I just kind of look around and I just see what I see from my team, and there's just. It's just, for me, the key point for me is it's too slow. It's too slow, and we're too easy to get rolled over. And I want someone who's going to get hold of the ball, move it quickly, direct people, show some leadership, and take some responsibility, which is what Kane does when he drops deep. But there's no point in dropping deep and not being able to ping it to himself. He's not there to take it, is he?
That's
so
right.
you got to have it one way or the other.
Yeah,
I mean, Adrian on the chat here, Adrian has said Niall John is decent, apparently. So I don't know anyone who knows that much about him, but that's Adrian's shout out. So and Adrian does know his stuff, because I'll speak to him quite regularly.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Adrian. Noel John, I've seen him play a couple of times actually, and he has got a bright future, I think. And Markandé as well. Dylan Markandé, somebody's mentioned Troy Bledon, I think that said Markandé. I was surprised he wasn't given some minutes tonight as well, because I've only heard good things about him, to be fair. Right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give Chris a few more minutes, and then I think he's probably in deepest, darkest France and not coming back, but we'll see. Let's give him 10 more minutes, and then we'll have to call it a night, I think, Lee, because everybody's probably listening and you banging on. But how do we approach Chelsea for you? What's the best way of getting anything out of this game? Do we fight fire with fire? Do we go attacking? I don't think you will, by the way, but would you go all out attack? Would you somewhere in between, or would you go ultra defensive? What do you want to see Nuno do on Sunday?
I want to see him go out and out attack. Let's attack them. Let's put them under pressure. Let's push them back. Let's make it really hard for them. I don't want to see us being ultra defensive, because that's just crap, in it, and you're just inviting it. And when you're sitting back, wave after wave after wave, the crowd are going to get edgy. They're going to sit there. They're going to go, "It's coming, it's coming, it's coming." And then the players will feel that edginess, and that'll make them start to worry. And then your expectations will come to reality. I'm expecting a big crowd there on Sunday. There's lots of us coming up from Dorset, so I'm expecting lots and lots of fans there. The atmosphere will be good. It'll be a bit. It might be a bit edgy, but there'll be a good atmosphere there. But the fans won't be patient, and that'll feed back. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we'll be patient. I think the football that we've been seeing is gonna. The fans will let them know. I think they will let them know if they're not putting the effort in. So I want us to go for it. I want us to fight fire with fire. Let's try and win the game. Let's not go and try not to get beat. Let's try and win the game. Because that's what the fans expect. That's what we're paying our 60, 70 quid for. And all your petrol money and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I totally agree. That's what I'd love to see us do. I'd love to see us go for it and almost go down fighting, to be honest. But look, we all know the football's not just about attacking; it's about defending as well. But I genuinely think that somebody like Chelsea, you can't stand off them because they will tear you apart. Lukaku, he's come back the complete centre forward almost, in my opinion. I was never convinced with him when he was at United, but something's happened to him in Italy, and for me, he's a quality centre forward. So he's going to be a big player for them. He's not just against us, but all season. And for me, Chelsea are, along with City, are my tip for the title. I'm sure, along with I'm not any pearls of great wisdom there, but they're up. They're going to be up there, aren't they? You know what I mean? So, but this is the sort of team. This is the sort of team. A top 4, top 5, top 6 team that we need to be picking up points against, and that's always been Tottenham's struggle over the last few years. He's picking up points against other members of the sort of big 6, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what are you expecting? Are you expecting? What do you think? Are you expecting us to get a draw out of it? Are you expecting us to lose? What's your gut telling you?
I just want to quickly answer Dan's question. He's asked me, would I start Hill on Sunday? Yeah, I probably would, actually. I think we need that bit of creativity and a bit of flair, and somebody that's going to do something unexpected. I can't see that midfield three again against Palace, because I was quite frankly bored. What am I expecting? I don't think it's going to be a very easy game. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not entirely convinced we're going to win the game, but I'd like to think we could get a draw. I think, I'd take a 1-1 or a 2-2. I think there's going to be goals. I don't think it's going to be 0-0.
I'm the same as you. I'm the same as you, right? So I my heart is saying, I wanna see us win. I think we can beat them and all the rest of it. But my head's saying, mate, you've got to be realistic about this. Chelsea are on fire. They've added quality to their squad. They hate us with a passion as well anyway. So their fans are going to expect them to win. And so I'm, in my head, I'm going, this is going to be one tough game. It's going to be one of the hardest ones of the season. But if we can have a go and get a draw out of it, I'd kind of be happy with that. I'd be happy with that. Play well and have a bit of pride out of it. And even if we lose, if we go down fighting, I'd accept that as well. But if we go down with a whimper, I'm going to be raging after the game. If we literally lie down, I'm going to be raging after the game. I know I am. So, that if you don't want to see me raging, they've got to put some effort in.
I think that's it, isn't it? And it's like what I said on the last video. It's like, if you see what we're trying to do, and if you see the players putting the effort in, but you go down, you don't mind as much, do you? It's going down with a whimper that I think everybody just doesn't want to see. I mean, God forbid, right? But if, in your opinion, if we lose against Chelsea and that mob down the road, do you think Nuno's job is going to be under threat, or is that too soon? Or do you think? It's all about performance.
For me, it might be under threat from the fans and the Twitterati, but from the club, I don't think his job's under threat. I think he's got this season without anything. I think they recognise how difficult it was to get a manager in, and I think they know he's only got 2 seasons anyway in his contract. So you know, he did. But what they want to see is a bit of progression, and that's it. I don't think he's going to be under any threat, if I'm honest. The fans may be on his back, I think, but I don't think the club will be, for sure.
Yeah, Paul's just commented he's in the waiting room waiting patiently, and sorry, Paul, as I said, I can't let you back in, and neither can Lee.
No.
Paul's saying here it's going to be a very hard game, but what the atmosphere is going to be electric, and I think it probably is going to be, isn't it? You know, it's always a massive game against Chelsea, and you know, I hope everybody going has a great time and Spurs get the 3 points. Wouldn't that be lovely? It's a good Sunday of football, actually. West Ham playing Manchester United, aren't they? So it's actually a good Sunday of football. All right, Lee, I haven't got any other questions written down, and I think we've covered off everything we wanted to. So unless you've got something that you want to say, I think sadly we're going to have to end the video now because I've no idea what else Chris wanted to talk about, and it doesn't look like he's coming back. He's just left us. So,
he's left us hanging, isn't he? No. But listen, it's been great to have a chat with you and Paul. I think, you know, it's great to see all the comments on there. I've got to say hello to Del in Plymouth because he keeps messaging me. My phone's going off. Say hello to me. Hello, Del in Plymouth. Hope you're all right, pal. But yeah, no, I'm with you, mate. I think we've probably done it to death, and people are probably fed up with listening to us rabbiting on. So we call it a day.
Yeah, there's obviously still people watching because I can see the comments coming through. I've no idea how many people have tuned in, so I've no idea how many people have tuned out just to see us two idiots talking to each other on YouTube. It seems a bit strange, but yeah, I mean, I think we can just hope for the best on Sunday, can't we? It is what it is. It's always going to be a funny game against Chelsea. We haven't got the greatest record against them, and I think if we're brutally honest, we'd all take a draw, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I'll take a draw. And listen, if we beat them, I'll even eat a vegan pie. If we beat them, I'll buy one of the vegan pies and eat it live on YouTube. I'll give you my honest opinion of it.
Well, Phil Ambrose has just put it on there. 231 people are still watching, so you know we're honoured. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Your money's in the post. Right, I've no idea what's going to happen when we actually end this, because I'm sure that we'll actually still keep broadcasting to YouTube as a blank screen once me and Lee leave. So I think, unless Lee, you've got anything you want to say, I think we're going to leave you now. I'm really sorry, and Paul apologises. His internet went down, so he couldn't stick with us. And obviously, Chris is in deepest, darkest France with Gary, which is really worrying. So I hope Gary's managed to stay awake, and they are both safe and well on a safe trip home. So I think we're just going to leave you, Lee. I think our time to go, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Take care. Good to speak to you. Up the Spurs.
Absolutely. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, everybody, so much for sticking with us. And hopefully we'll have all four of us next time. As I say, the stream will probably keep playing once we both leave, but that is it. There's no encore. And Paul says goodbye as well, and he says, come on, you Spurs. So everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.
Cheers.